I'm recording this Pause and Pray on July 31st, and the church, many who practice following the way of Jesus today celebrate a saint named Ignatius of Loyola. He was a Spanish contemplative in the 1500s, and one of the ways in which we encounter the legacy of Ignatius is that he founded this community of priests known as the Jesuits, and they have a particular charism of supporting and fostering education. So in the United States alone, there are 27 universities run by Jesuits. Globally, there's about 190 institutions of higher learning founded by the Jesuits. And I was grateful to go to one of those universities here in America, Marquette University in Milwaukee, that's run by Jesuits. And they were 4 incredibly formative years of my life, probably the most formative years of my life. But one of the real gifts of learning in a Jesuit university was how many priests I had as professors in a variety of subjects. These weren't priests that kind of doubled as professors. Their calling was to be a professor, to have a PhD in all sorts of disciplines. So I had, of course, had priests who taught theology, but I had priests teach me history and English and science as well. And it was a reminder, just having a priest teaching a course, that God was part of that subject, that there was no part of learning and indeed no part of life that is off limits from the love of God that stirs and the presence of God that stirs. Because one of the biggest sayings attributed to Ignatius is finding God in all things, that Ignatius believed there was an invitation to find the divine in all things, in each and every part of life. I think of that line in the book of Jeremiah in chapter 23, verse 24, where God says, Can one hide themselves in a place that I cannot see? Do I not fill heaven and earth, God says? Within that is a holy invitation to pause and pray today on our journeys of life and faith, and simply reflect on where it is, what are some experiences we've had of finding the divine, finding God in our lives. And I hope those experiences are actually many and varied and are certainly not relegated to just a church experience. Because even though I sometimes wear the collar, the church doesn't have a monopoly on God. And that's a good thing. In fact, no part of life has a monopoly on God. And because of that, there is no part of life then that's off limits to our ability to experience that sacred and divine stirring of love that really can be found in all things. God's peace and blessings to you all.